Welcome to the Protagonist Pub. My name is Tammy, and today we're going to talk about another classic romance author. This video is very overdue, but you know, life happens and that's okay. And today's author, when I tell you her name, you will not immediately recognize her. And she is one of my favorites. And her given name is Eleanor Alice Burford. She was born in 1906 in what is now the East End of London. She was born to working class parents. Her dad was a dock worker. Her mother was a housewife. And she was a sickly child. She didn't attend school. She was homeschooled. And from her dock worker father, she fell in love with reading and books and literature because her dad had an absolute passion for those things, and he passed it on to his daughter, and that love stayed with her entire life and set the foundations for who she would become as an adult, as a professional. At 16, she goes to secretary college. She does that for a little bit. She graduates, she gets a job. And in her very early 20s, she marries a man 20 years her senior named George Hibbert. She's his second wife. They don't have any biological children together, but she is the stepmother to his two adult children. And they remain married until George's death. He was able to provide a comfortable living so that she could pursue her passion of writing and telling stories. And he was her biggest supporter and let his wife develop her talent, which is, you know, what we all want in a husband. In the late 1930s, 1939, I think, they moved from London to the small village of Platyhodnet in Cornwall. And it sets the stage for a lot of things to come in her life. England's pulled into World War II, and she publishes several articles. And in 1941, she publishes her first novel. It's under her name, you know, it's not a pen name, it's under her name. And it's called The Daughter of Anna. It's her debut novel. And it's a romance. It sets her up to publish several more novels during the war. It gives her additional income when, you know, income was scarce during the war. So that was excellent. So Cornwall becomes very important as her writing continues. Not just the people that make up Cornwall, but the geography, the loneliness, the atmosphere of Cornwall all play into one of her pen names so very, very well. And she takes another of her pen names from the small village in which they live. And it's just a beautiful relationship she has with Cornwall that persists through the vast majority of her life. So in 1947, she publishes her first book under her most prolific pen name, which is Jean Platty. And under the Jean Platty pen name, she writes 91 historical novels. These are all, there are some standalones in those 91. There is a trilogy of nonfiction dealing with the Spanish Inquisition, but so the first novel she publishes under the Jean Platty pen name is published in 1947. It is entitled Beyond the Blue Mountains, and it is about convicts who are shipped off to Australia. And this novel gets rejected by many publishers because it's over 500 pages. However, it does get published. It is a success. She goes on to publish 89 other novels under this pen name. 90 other novels under this pen name. And a lot of them are related to royal dynasties throughout Europe. She has an 11-book Tudor series. She has a 11-book series dealing with the Georgian dynasty in England. She has 7 books of the Stuart dynasty. She has a series for Queen Victoria. She has a couple of series set in France, all under this pen name. They are all immaculately researched, beautifully written, and just engrossing historical fiction. Under the pen name of Philippa Carr, she published a family saga series which follows the family line through daughters throughout English history. The first book in the series is published in 1973. It begins in the reign of Henry VIII, and it is called The Miracle of St. Bruno's. And the series concludes with a posthumous release in 1995, concluding the series, called The Daughters of England. There is a little bit of controversy if there's 20 books in this series or 18 or 19 books in this series, but however you count them, she has a vast family saga set in Britain. I own them all except the 7th book in the series, which I believe is the one that's available on Kindle Unlimited. I need to purchase that one. I have never seen these books out in the wild in my entire lifetime. So if you happen to run across one, pick it up, because I am positive it will be a masterpiece. Her most famous pen name is Victoria Holt, the author of the masterclass of Gothic romantic suspense. It isn't strictly Gothic romantic suspense. However, it is all romantic suspense under this pen name. And she wrote 32 romantic suspense novels between 1960 and 1993. And the first of these was Mistress of Melon, and the last of these, I didn't write down the name. 1963, she also published The Bride of Pendoric, which is often quoted as the prime example of Victoria Holt writing. It is set on the coast of Cornwall. It tells the legend of the cursed brides that haunt the Pendoric estate. I haven't read it yet. I do own it. It's on my list to read. Last year, I listened to The Shivering Sands, another Gothic Cornwall romance that was superb. No one writes romantic suspense like Victoria Holt. And if you remember my birthday book haul last year, which I'll link down below, I do have another Victoria Holt book. This one is not Gothic romance. This one is entitled My Enemy the Queen. And it is a Tudor England romantic suspense. I'll read you the very brief back. She was the beautiful, impetuous Lettice Devereux. It was Lettice who married the Earl of Leicester, whom Elizabeth I loved. It was Lettice who was the mother of the Queen's beloved Earl of Essex. That young Earl would one day break the Queen's heart. It was always Lettice, the constant spoiler in the triangle of love surrounding Elizabeth. I was so lucky to pick this book up from Better World Books when I did my birthday book haul. This one was published in 1978, and I paid $7 for this book on, not even $7, Better World. At the time I purchased the book, it was going for a used in fair condition copy over $600 on Amazon. Needless to say, I didn't buy that one. Victoria Holt books are much easier to find out in the wild. They are available on Audible, Kindle Unlimited, probably your library if you have a big enough library system. They're available ebooks, physical. They are being republished. A lot of her works are now being republished by various publishing houses. Okay, she has four other pen names, or she has other pen names. Here are the four most popular. Under the pen name of Elber Ford, she published 4 mystery novels. Under Kathleen Kello, she published 8 novels of historical crime, some of which are later republished under the Jean Platty name. Anna Percival, she published 1 novel. And under Eloise Tate, she published 5 historical fiction. Again, some of these are republished under the Jean Platty pen name. So she was very prolific. On average, she published 4 books a year. She didn't dilute the market with any one particular genre under the different pen names and different genres in which she published. She always had meticulously researched, historical fiction. She had incredibly atmospheric, intense romantic suspense. Her crime fiction was well plotted. You couldn't go wrong if you picked up one of her novels and you didn't realize it was one of her pen names. You just fell in love with her. So it was fabulous. She has sold over 100 million books worldwide. And I'm sure that number is only continuing to grow. Her most popular books by pen name are under Victoria Holt, The Shivering Sands and The Bride of Pindoric. Under Jean Platty, it is The Miracle of St. Bruno's. And the Philippa Carr series isn't as widely known today, although it should be. I own them all. I will put a picture of the first book here. I can't wait to read them. I can highly recommend all of her books. They are well written. The characters are very well detailed and fleshed out and individual. So, she died in 1993 on January 13th. Is that right? That doesn't seem right. Hang on. I know exactly when she died. Yeah, January 18th, 1993. She died on a cruise at sea. And per her wishes, she was buried at sea without a funeral. She had no children to survive her. She very much lived a solitary, out of the limelight life. Her husband let her, pursue her writing passion, and the world has benefited from it. So, if you need a good romance and you're tired of modern day slop, especially in the romantic suspense area, highly recommend Victoria Holt. Have you read her? Let me know in the comments down below. Like and subscribe. And I will see you here next time at the Protagonist Pub.